Hello everyone, I am Dr. Tvisha Parikh. I am a sports medicine doctor with Reliance Foundation. Doping has become a matter of increasing concern. Today, I will be sharing some information on what constitutes doping, what are the banned substances and methods, and the other important things to keep in mind regarding them. When we hear the word doping, we think of elite athletes at international or Olympic levels. However, doping concerns athletes at every level, not just elite athletes. It is very important for young and budding athletes to be educated about anti-doping. Doping also concerns recreational athletes and fitness enthusiasts. Thus, every person exercising or involved with an athlete should have this knowledge about doping and anti-doping. Typically, when we hear about an athlete committing a doping violation, we hear about a sample being tested positive for a banned substance. But remember, there are 9 other ways in which an athlete could commit doping. Let's talk about these 10 anti-doping rule violations. In addition to the first, which we said is the presence of a prohibited substance in the athlete's sample, the second is if an athlete is found to use or gets caught using or attempting to use a prohibited substance or method. Third is if the athlete is asked to give his sample for testing and he refuses to give his sample to the doping control officer or evades or runs away from the site of collection. Fourth is if he fails to notify the authorities about his whereabouts for out-of-competition testing. Fifth is if the athlete tampers with any step of the doping control procedure. For example, the athlete tries to adulterate the sample during the collection procedure. Possession or trafficking in fact, of a prohibited substance or a method is also considered doping. Even if you are not taking a banned substance yourself but are administering it to any other athlete, it qualifies as doping as well. Ninth point is that if you are helping or being complicit or assisting in any of the above violations, that also constitutes doping. Lastly, if you as an athlete associate with any kind of personnel like a coach, a sports doctor or a trainer or a physio who has earlier been sanctioned or banned and is currently serving a sanction, that too qualifies as doping. So now that we know what constitutes doping, let's move on to why or how does a substance get banned, who decides this, and what is banned. So for a substance to get banned, it must meet 2 of the following 3 criteria. First is the potential to enhance sports performance. Second, it should have or could have an actual or potential health risk to the person consuming it. And third, it violates the spirit of sport. Next, talking about the World Anti-Doping Agency, or commonly called the WADA, which is a body to fight doping. It is this body which decides on what is banned and the various policies related to doping. All the information related to doping as decided by WADA can be found on their website, which I have mentioned here. If you have not already seen this, I highly encourage you to make note of this website. In fact, one of the rules of WADA says that it is the responsibility of every athlete to know about the WADA and its rules. Next, what is banned or prohibited? WADA website that I mentioned above has the prohibited list, which mentions about the substances and the methods which are prohibited. This list gets updated annually. So every year in October, the WADA publishes this list for the next year starting from January. There are certain changes like addition of new substances which tend to happen every year. Hence, it is important for you to know all the updates. This list is free to download from the website, and although I won't be discussing the entire list here today, what I would be discussing is certain sections of it. The first that I would like to highlight is that the list has 3 sections. The first section is that of substances and methods which are prohibited at all times, which means an athlete is never supposed to consume these substances. The example of this is anabolic agents, or commonly called as steroids. The second section is those substances which can be taken during off-season but are prohibited in competition. The third section is certain substances which are prohibited only in particular sports. This is because they don't improve performance in all sports but only help in improve performance in certain sports. So, in addition to this list on the WADA website, there are also certain online resources which are available for checking prohibited substances. One example of these is the Global DRO. But although all these resources are available, I highly encourage and stress on the fact that you should seek advice of a sports science and medicine professional like a sports nutritionist, a sports doctor, to know what to consume, how much to consume. I'd like to end by asking you to remember certain things and keep them in mind. Not all substances are individually named in the list. What this means is that substances with similar chemical structure or similar biological effects would also be prohibited even if they are not actually mentioned on the prohibited list of WADA. Lastly, if you can't find your medication on the list, this does not mean your product is safe to take in sport. So please be careful about everything that you put in your mouth and your body. Thank you very much. Stay safe. You can reach out to me at the details mentioned here.